What's up, Diablo 4 players? So today, let's talk about the Spiritborn, as well as going over all of the skills and kind of just checking out all of the different upgrades that you can get, whether that you get the enhancement, and then there's kind of like those two other ones that branch out, because we have the full entire skill tree unlocked for the class. Now keep in mind, this is obviously going to be in an earlier stage of the game. We haven't seen the end game as far as the different glyphs, because that could determine what we can actually play with the build. But I've been getting frequently asked, Slaydrabusiness, what do you think is the best build for the Spiritborn? So what I'm going to do is we're going to check out the skills. We'll see how they interact via this like really great thing that's on that D4 builds. They actually have all of the skills like in terms of gameplay. You can see directly how the skill behaves, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on which build is the best, but I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a spoiler. It's probably going to be Thorns, at least as of right now. That's what I see to be very powerful, as the class was kind of demoed, and there's just so many multipliers with Thorns, and Thorns was already a pretty strong thing. It's just that now you can apply it on every single attack. So let's go ahead and check out the class. If you are more interested in just like raw gameplay, I'll have a link down below that goes over like all of the skills and everything, but this is mainly trying to go over kind of like the thought process, and if I wanted to build the best build, kind of how I would do it. So keep in mind, again, there really isn't going to be like this is the best build, because this is like level 30 gameplay that was shown off, and again, there's a lot of aspects, probably uniques and other things that just weren't really revealed. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these skills. So for starters, let's go look at the basic skills and go over all of those. So we have the Withering Fist. I'm not going to read every single skill here. I'm just going to look at kind of how the skill performs, and then checking out the lucky hit chance, as that could be tied to certain builds in terms of like how would you interact with it. So basically, we're looking at the basic skill, which does some sort of damage and applies poison over a duration. And then the third attack bursts on the target, and that's going to slow them, so you can maybe affect via crowd control. Maybe there's a glyph for that, right? And this one lets you gain Vigor per second. I'm not sure if they actually specify what the heck this like new thing does, Vigor. Over here, okay, there's a lot of stuff that gains Vigor. So does it have any description on what this is? I'm guessing that's to our resource, but nonetheless, that's with the enhanced one, which we will always get. Like enhanced on the tree, every single one of these is always going to be called enhanced on like the second node that you have to get, and then they branch out to two other ones. So you gain extra resource for every nearby enemy poison, and it has to be by this specific thing, so it unfortunately can't work in with Andariel's. But then we also have the ability to make it so the third attack spreads its poison to nearby affected enemies, and then hitting a vulnerable enemy will also spread that effect to all hit. And then enemies poisoned by a Withering Fist deal 20% less damage. So, I mean, for the most part, you're really interested in dealing damage with any sort of build. So like this one has a little bit of potential, but in terms of like looking at how the skill behaves, it looks like it's mainly focused in on a like single target. In fact, this almost reminds me of like the way of the 100 fists on the monk. Like one of the attacks, it looks like there's attacking more times. But let's go ahead and continue, and then I'll kind of make the build as we go along. So with Thrash over here, it says dive at the enemy, does some sort of damage, and then the lucky hit is 21. The third attack unleashes rapid series of slashes, dealing a total of 37. So that's, what is it, 28? It's attacking basically like 3 times maybe. So it looks like, yeah, it attacks multiple times. So the lucky hit on this, it almost looks like for the third attack, it could be more. Now, there could be some uniques and some things that involve third attacks. So let's like actually kind of look at what the third attack would be like in terms of what else we can get with the third attack, because there could be some sort of build that revolves around that. So basic skills deal way more damage. Now, this is a quarterstaff, so it's going to fill up maybe 2 of these like slots. I'm assuming it's a two-hander. Increases the damage, and then they always use the third attack, and every third cast unleashes triple strikes. So I'm not sure if that would mean that this then gets to attack like 9 times, but that could be something to look at as far as like the third attack. I think it's all the basic attacks get like a third attack, but okay, so with the upgrade over here, we have it gaining a stack of ferocity, and then the accelerated one makes it so it continues to unleash its third attack if cast again within 1.5 seconds. Okay, so basically you could already have this without utilizing that item, which could be pretty good. Obviously you'll have to build it up, but then every single attack is the triple, right? That could be actually pretty dang good. But the other one says it does give you maybe up to a 200x multiplier. I don't know if this class is able to wield swords, but the Shard of Varethel is already 300 like X damage. So that's a pretty hard thing to compete with, considering, well, that's a one-hander. So that might be the way to go if I was to maybe want to build a Thrash build. Next up, though, we have the Thunder Spike, which lets us jab forward, deal some damage. Then the third attack pierces, dealing more damage. Oh, that's literally exactly the same as like the Monk skill. I wonder if this was originally designed as Monk. Like, now that I'm looking at this, there is literally a Monk skill that does that in D3. It's like the blue one. I forgot the name of it. Anyways, the enhanced one generates additional like resource if you've moved. Then the third attack strikes back again, pulling and knocking down distance enemies. And then when you evade, you attack with Thunder Spike along the way and make enemies vulnerable. I wonder if there's going to be a way to spam evade. It's kind of difficult to do that for most builds unless you have some sort of like item like, I don't know, Oculus that gives you cooldown on your attacks. But I don't know if I would say that this one has like huge potential, because the other one over here, I mean, attacking like multiple times is already built in. And I think that this one has a little bit more potential right now, but let's see the uniques. That will definitely matter a lot in the build. Next up, though, we have Rock Splitter here. So let's see how it looks. It looks like it does cleave on like maybe the third attack. Almost does a little spin attack. Again, very similar to the Monk. So it rushes at a target. So I guess you get like a small little dash. That could be kind of nice. Let me actually zoom out a little bit. That way you guys can see the gameplay the whole time while I'm reading some of these effects. So it's going to increase your block chance. And I know the staves, I believe the quarter staves have block enabled on it. Then the third attack knocks enemies back and grants resolve. Does it say what resolve is? We can't click on it. And then accelerated over here makes so Rock Splinters increases your thorns by 13 for 5 seconds. And your third attack deals 100% of your thorns to enemies. Okay, so like I mentioned before, I was already citing this as one of the best like skills in the entire game, considering you can every single attack. Now I'm looking at quarterstaff, and like we're gonna make like kind of a pseudo build here. I'm gonna try to give you guys my thoughts on like the best build, even though it's like really earlier on. I still think it's fun to go ahead and do that. So as far as that unique goes, we definitely want that unique. I mean, keep in mind this placeholder over here, but the fact that every attack is always going to apply thorns at 100% rate is pretty dang insane. Now, I don't know if we even need to put multiple points into it. It does have like just, does it the regular attack even grant us, we got Rock Splitter. It doesn't, yeah, I don't think it really does anything if we put more points into it as far as like the thorns goes, but for now, let's go ahead and throw 3 points into that, and let's kind of see what the build will look like. And then obviously, yes, we want the thorns one, because this stat is really insane, and there's a lot of things that we can maybe do with thorns. So that's definitely what I would want to use for my basic attack, and heck, this might be just like the end game build that I want to go for. And then next up, we have the core skills. So we have the Crushing Hand. So I actually liked this one. I think that there was a, it can actually have like a double. I'm not sure what triggers that. Maybe it's a, okay. Oh no, it always creates 2. Interesting enough. Okay, there's 2 right there. There's 2 right there. Okay, it is 2 every single time? Okay. So it does do 2 every time. I was wondering if that was like some sort of aspect. So yeah. So each deals 37% damage, but since they can overlap, I'm assuming that you can have one target hit by both, so that can be pretty good for lucky hits, especially since you get 2 of them, right? I'm assuming each one has an individual lucky hit proc chance. So enhance, which everyone's going to get. The Crushing Hand grants barrier to 10% of the damage that it deals, up to 50% of your maximum life. This could be really good, actually, for survivability. Enemies hit by both strikes are knocked down. Wow, this guaranteed knockdown for 2 seconds. It is pretty nice, but again, we're mainly looking for damage, and in this game, eventually the things become immune. And then next up, Rampant. Crushing Hand's radius gets increased by 5 for every stack of Resolve you have. So I have to look and see what the heck, what does Resolve actually do for it? Is that the main resource, or is it Vigor? Anyways, next up we have Quill Volley. So you hurl feathers that pierce that deal damage. So the enhanced one makes enemies vulnerable if they are hit with at least 3 feathers at once. So you have to guys shotgun them. And then we have the Quill Volley hurls out 3 additional feathers that deals some sort of increased damage to each enemy per hit. And then we have the Rampant, which is Quill Volley's feathers fly 50% further and converge on your target with additional crit strike chance for each point of Vigor you had on cast. Okay, so Vigor, I'm guessing that is the resource. But this one, I don't know if I would say, I mean, it definitely looks pretty flashy for clearing, and if you can make it go out way further, and it can, you know, apply vulnerability, that is kind of nice. I would consider that one. But another thing I wanted to look at, which is actually very important for all the core skills, and I'll check this out after we read them all, is looking at what can actually hit multiple times, because that's basically double DPS if you're running something that can hit twice, right? So we have Rake over here. It makes so you can conjure claws that rake through enemies, dealing 20% of the damage before exploding for an additional set of damage. Can we watch it in gameplay? Like, does it hit something? I want to see what, like, how long does the expiration have to, you know, how long do you have to wait before it pops the enemy, right? So casting Rake grants a stack of ferocity. Hitting at least enemy with Rake reduces your longest active cooldown by 0.5. Okay, so maybe if you want to perma do some stuff with the ultimates or something, that could be an option, or some buffs. And Rake's Vigor's cost is reduced by 2 per stack of ferocity, so you can reduce the cost of it. Okay, interesting. And then we have Stinger. So over here we have strike a small area, dealing 98% of damage within, as well as surrounding poisoned enemies. Okay, that's probably the highest numerical like number if we look at everything. Some of these do activate twice, so like that's like, what's that, 37 times 2. I mean, this one's do shoot out a bunch. Remember, this is hitting them as they come out, and I'm assuming they come back for the same amount of damage, so that could be a pretty big amount of damage right there as well. If we just go ahead and bust out the calc over here, so if we did like, okay, how many feathers actually shoot out? Can we pause this? Oh gosh, okay, so it says 5, but it definitely looks like there's more than 5 that are shooting out. So I'm not sure if there's some sort of aspect that gives you more or a temper, but let's say that you hit them all with 10. So right, we would do just 10 times 18, and then we have a total of 180, and then numerically, if you're fighting a boss, this is just going to be the highest number. And then on top of that, it hurls out additional feathers, so that can be pretty big. But like, this is, it's like half of this in terms of damage. It's like, yeah, 180 versus 98. Anyways, let's see what this does. So its Stinger applies 50% of its base damage as poison over 6 seconds to all enemies hit. If Stinger strikes a vulnerable enemy, it heals you for 10% of the maximum life. If you are healthy, it makes enemies vulnerable. That's kind of nice. And then Stinger deals 5% increased direct damage to elites for every nearby poison enemy. I don't really feel like that's useful, because if you're really fighting like a boss that's hard, there might not be the adds that survive long enough. So in terms of the core skills, here's kind of how I feel about the core skills, as this is our main source of damage. Like, this is great for being able to heal. Like, it just grants a barrier for 10% of our HP every single time. That means we would have like the ability to consistently have barrier, which is really good. And in terms of damage, I think Quill Volley is one of the better ones. And if you're running something that has like, you know, a cooldown that you want to have 100% uptime on, that could be an option. As far as this goes, I mean, yeah, it could deal a pretty good amount of damage, because it also applies that damage as poison. So there is like kind of a use for almost everything. Like, we have survivability, we have damage, and like, I think this is probably arguably one of the best one. This one, again, I'd have to look at all of the skills, but as far as it goes, I still vote for, like, you know, I'm going to be kind of making my build over here as we go along. Increases all Vigor generation. I believe that's the resource, right? Generates 1 Vigor for each second while moving if you have dealt damage. Okay, so we have to put in, to get to the next like part of the tree, we don't have to put anything in if we just invest into Rock Splitter. Your basic skills, oh wow, this could be even better. Look at this. The multipliers are already telling us, let's go basic with this build. I mean, 30% increased damage, right? And then on top of that, every single attack is going to be the third one. So you already have every single attack getting 60x multiplier over here. So again, this is looking really solid for that. And then next up, what do we have over here? What are these called? Focus skills. So what are these focus skills looking like? This one actually looked kind of cool. What this one does is it pulls everything in. So it's going to create a cyclone that pulls everything in. Again, this is like straight up like the cyclone. It isn't called cyclone with monk. And so it deals some set amount of damage over here. So enhanced casting vortex increases the damage of the next skill cast by 20%. And then while you have an active barrier, it does 200% of your additional damage and knocks down enemies. Wow, that is pretty good if you wanted to mix that in with like the Gorilla Crushing Hand. And then crit strikes with vortex reduces its cooldown. It's only with vortex, so I don't know if I would use it. Other than, it does group up enemies quite well though. Then we have Soar over here. I think I'd play this just for mobility, like if I was to use this. So it flies in the air. And it also makes things vulnerable, which is quite nice. In fact, like, I actually think this skill is even better now, because, like, you need some sort of source of vulnerability. But, again, we'll have to wait to see. Does a Paragon board have the exploit to automatically apply vulnerability, or is it going to be one of the ones that's kind of bad, like Sork, where, like, you have to, it just gives you, like, another multiplier, which is great. But, again, you still need to apply vulnerability to deal damage. So this one seems pretty good, giving yourself unstoppable. I like that. The next hit against enemy struck by Soar is guaranteed crit. If Soar hits no enemies, you gain 50% increased movement speed. So I think I would go for Soar. I'd get enhanced, and I would go for measured. So that's what I think is good. So let's go to measured. Yeah, so we can get unstoppable, break some CC. That could be kind of good. But we haven't seen all of them yet. This is Ravager. What does it do? So minimum ferocity by 4. I'm not sure. Again, I'd have to see what the heck this does. It'll maybe come to light later as we scroll down. Unleash a savage roar causing all of your attacks to trigger additional strikes. Wait, what? Additional strikes. Does that mean it just attacks again? I could see this being really, really good, especially if you want to combo it with, let's say, Rake and just have this up 100% of the time. So, yeah, we could get maybe a lot of cooldown on this because this is pretty big. It says all of your attacks. All of it. Like, what if you get something that already triggers an additional time, right? Or are we potentially getting like 4 attacks on every attack? That is massive because that means instead of doing anything, we just stack as much lucky hit, we build someone with Andariels, and then we just get, you run the brand new Fist of Fate. I think it'd be really good. But anyways, the duration is extended by 2 seconds per kill while active. Oh, its bonus is reduced by 0.2 for each kill to a minimum of 0.5 seconds. Wow. Wait, so you can have the entire cooldown just 0.5? Or like you can only reduce it by 0.5? Okay, well, either way, if you can get 100% uptime this, I would say that that's probably something good. And then as we put more points into it, what does it do? It changes the cooldown. Minimum ferocity increase, and then it's the amount of damage that you deal. I definitely would want 1 point into it. Oh, what is this? While Ravagers active, our core skills instantly dash. We're not running core, because like I said, I'm thinking Thorns is the way to build this, to make it the best build. And then over here, Ravager passively stockpiles any healing you receive up to 40 stacks while active. Ravager spends stacks to strike elite enemies up to 4 additional times. Okay, yeah, this is like definitely looking like really, really good. I'm definitely going for that one. Okay, what about the other passives that we have for the character? So gain 100% increased dodge chance during evade. Whenever you dodge, you gain 5% crit chance. Oh. It's just whenever you dodge, you just gain extra crit strike. Wow, that is really, really good. That's like 15 crit. Just stack just a little bit of dodge on the build, and I think that that's worth it. If you can run like any, what is it, like Everliving or Crowded Sage, one of those, like, there's 2 like mods that let you get like some sort of like chance to dodge, right? And you can either gain resource or maximum life. I think like Rogue and Sork can use those 2. So you deal increased damage while unhindered or unstoppable. I don't know if that one's that bad. So far, I'm just going to start taking notes, and then we'll take points out. Mobility skill cooldowns are reduced. Does this count as mobility? I like this skill. Reduced by 2 seconds based on how far you travel with them. Okay, I'm going to max out that right now. Increased damage. Okay, yeah, definitely want to max that out. Vulnerable enemies deal less damage to you. Let's put points into that right now. And then we're looking at the next section over here. Well, actually, we have Toxic Skin. I think this might actually be for specifically Thorns as well. So enemies that attack you are poisoned and take damage over time. Your toxins overflow, applying the poison trail, making you unhindered for 7 seconds. Now, does that also scale with... Oh, wait, it's not this one. It's this one. Okay, what does it scale? It's a very small amount of duration, but like, let's say you play Harlequin or something. Yeah, I mean, making you unhindered is giving you the bonus, right? Yeah, unhindered, you get 9x damage. Okay, so while Toxic Skin is active, your poison skills deal 25% of its damage over time as critical strikes to vulnerable enemies. Interesting, because poison is usually something you don't stack crit, but that could be interesting. Toxic Skin passively increases Thorns damage you deal to poisoned enemies by 100%. Like I said, I think it was this and the other thing, and I was just like, okay, we're absolutely 100% going Thorns. So we already have like 4 skills set up for this. Yeah, this is just crazy. Increases your Thorns that you deal to poison. So we need something to apply poison, and I guess if they just hit it, they're just going to be poisoned instantly. Really good stuff. So let's kind of see how it works. So it looks like you activate it, and a poison... It looks like a poison... like, what is that? The Penitent Greaves. Like, it's just a trail of poison. So if it just constantly works, I mean, that's fantastic. That's an excellent skill. And then we have, next up, we have Armor Hide. So we gain Resolve every 5 seconds as a passive. And then the active is encase yourself becoming unstoppable, gaining 100% block chance. So it's like a easy survive unless you're taking like dot damage. And then the enhanced one makes it so activating Armor Hide grants you maximum resolve and increases your thorns by X of the duration. I mean, we gotta go for that, man. And then when you evade through enemies with Armor Hide, you deal 100% of your thorns. What is this 100%? There's like so much thorns here that you can stack. Well, active Armor Hide increases your block reduction. Okay, we're definitely getting adaptable with this one. I mean, it's only 4 seconds, but like, I mean, if we can somehow get immortality on this, this would be really good. I'm gonna go with the thorns one. And then we don't really have too many points left, but we're almost at the bottom anyways. Let's see, gain 1% additional damage reduction per stack of resolve. Okay, so you can get damage reduction. So casting defensive skill, that's anything we need. Gain increased life on kill equal to your maximum life while I have ferocity. Maybe this one could be okay, but I mean, this is pretty... I don't know what the max stack of resolve is, but I'm going to slam it in right now, and we'll see. Gain block chance after standing still for 1 second. Now, I don't know if I want to get block. I don't know how exactly block will reg in this game. I believe block isn't it damage reduction, or is it like you take no damage? Because I don't think this class can use a shield as far as I'm aware of, right? Like, oh, it doesn't even show up here. That's going to be something that is unknown, because I was assuming this class was going to be able to use like a polearm and shield. Well, we're already running the quarter staff, which I'm assuming is a 2-handed staff. But this could be something to consider as well. But after not taking damage, you gain barrier for 5 seconds. It's not too bad. I think against certain boss, oh, we have to get the thorns one too. I don't know if we're gonna be able to like really throw in as many skills as I want, but again, we're gonna have to kind of look at all of the skills, but I'm kind of doing this as we go along. And then we have concussive stomp over here. So it stomps in front of you, releases a shockwave that deals some sort of damage, and it knocks down. So it grants a barrier up to 10% of your maximum life. When enemies recover from concussive stomp, you can dodge their next 3 attacks. I mean, if I'm playing Thorns, I'd rather have them actually attack versus them being staggered. But Concussive Stomp gains additional charge and does 500% increased damage. Okay, seems kind of cool, but it's not going to be for our build. So we gain 40% dodge chance and automatically retaliate against close enemies for some sort of mad damage when you dodge their attacks. There's no cooldown? What? This is insanely good. 40% dodge chance. There's no way this is real. That is legitimately way too much. Like, I'm calling this right now. This is absolutely getting nerfed. But, I mean, obviously... Okay, we have to put, like, max points into that. There's no way I'm not slamming as many points as possible into that. Because now we just, like, take no damage, which is, like, crazy. Yeah, there's no way that that's real. I genuinely don't think that that's going to exist in the game. So counterattack, passive increases your crit strike damage for every close enemy. That's not too bad. When you dodge a control pair attack with a counterattack, it will reflect that crowd control to all close enemies, so you can apply a lot of crowd control. Maybe it's not too bad, but like I want the enemies to hit me if I'm playing a Thorn spell. I don't want them to be like, you know, knocked down or whatever. So I think that this is okay. I mean, I just want this really for the passive more than anything. I really don't care about the active. I mean, it's not bad just to activate, because then, like, you're dodging everything. Like, the fact that you can dodge everything for 2 seconds, and then activate this, and then there's 100% block chance. I mean, this just seems like this class is going to be super OP. Alright, so let's check out the last skill in this category, and we're almost actually done with this. I know it's a long video, but, like, you guys get to see the thought process for, like, not only me, but, like, other content creators that work with different websites. A lot of times, we go in blind to builds, and we try to drop build guides, obviously, before the game drops, because people want to know what's the best build, and sometimes, you know, sometimes it plans out, sometimes, I'll be honest, we forgot some crazy, you know, bug build, and that's kind of the case with Diablo 4, but it's cool. I like doing these sort of videos too. Well, usually I don't record these because I'm like trying to plan out what's going to be the best build, and I'll just show you guys like the build guide when it's done. But I like doing this. But anyways, Scourge, call forth a wave of insects that bites enemies, interferes and slows them. Okay, we're probably not going to want that because we want thorns, unless it gives me something with thorns. But each time you hit an enemy, you gain increased damage versus crowd control. If that's an X multiplier, that could be okay. But the fact that you'd have to keep this up in bosses would be very difficult. Lucky hit. hitting an enemy affected by Scourge has a chance of lifesteal. Lifesteal doesn't even work in this game, so this is like basically a worthless stat. If you guys haven't seen it, look at how Undial works. It literally is so busted. Like, it doesn't even work. Unless we're fixing it. So casting Scourge gains 100% of your maximum Vigor over 6 seconds. Okay, so don't really care too much about that. All right, next up, we're looking at the next category after maybe looking at these. Gain increased poison resistance and maximum poison resistance. Your healing is increased by 25 whenever you heal. Your poison damage is increased. Okay. Even though we are gaining poison, we're just using poison for like the bonus. We'll actually only have 1 point left, so we may have to remove some somewhere over here. I don't know if we really need this. I mean, this would be nice quality of life, but I'm not sure if we, again, really need it. All right, so next up, checking out, let's check out the skills first because I think that's more exciting. So Payback, what is this? Smash enemies dealing some damage, and it has 12-second cooldown. When attack, you have a 35% chance to reduce its cooldown. Enhance each time an enemy attacks, the damage they take is increased. Okay, Payback passively grants you Vigor. Oh, okay. But we don't really need it because we don't need to spend it. Payback is now a core skill and consumes all available Vigor to increase its damage. So maybe you could do some cool like one-shot thing. And then becoming crowd control impaired while Payback is on cooldown makes it free to cast and grants you unstoppable. Let's say this is actually pretty OP, and then it was like, oh, you can only do it once every 30 seconds, so that's a skip. Razor Wings. Oh, I actually saw a really cool video by Woody, and it was like something where like, I don't know if it was an aspect or something, it just shot out a bunch of these and they were just spinning around. It looked actually super OP, but then it had a pretty long cooldown. I believe it had to do with the ultimate, but anyways, you whirl out a cluster of razor sharp feathers that rebound that deal some sort of damage. Kind of reminds me of like the Captain America build. You throw the shield, maybe like it comes back or something. Anyways, so it can make enemies vulnerable when hitting with a critical strike or from behind. It has a 10% chance to regain a charge when they hit an enemy a second time. Double this chance if you have barrier. It consumes 3 charges to send out a spiral of 3. Yeah, so like it was like you could just keep on spamming it. I wish that you can click on this and it would show, but this could actually be a really good way to make the build as well, but you're going to have to get crazy cooldown. So Russian Claw, we may take this because it's just like another mobility skill. So what it does is it slashes in a short distance and it strikes all enemies and just does damage. So enemies hit by it take increased damage from Russian Claw, so you can dash multiple times. This is legit, like it just again screams like Monk in its build. When Russian Claw hits an enemy in Elite, you gain 25% increased dodge chance. That's actually kind of cool. It has 4 charges and it's per 20 seconds. So I'm guessing you get 1 charge per 20 seconds. Is that how it works, or is it like 4-second cooldown? Because if it's 4-second cooldown and you have 4 charges, this is just like you are just gonna gain 25% increased dodge chance. And it depends on how this dodge is registered, because if we have 40 plus 25 right here, and it's like the tempered versions of it, because now you could actually get 100% dodge in the game, I believe, and that's pretty busted because then you just don't take damage, right? So I mean, it again depends on how they're registering this. So using Rush Claw's last charge will instantly refill all charges by consuming 4 stacks of ferocity. Okay, so we may want to try to build something with this just for really fast mobility, and just you're not going to be able to take very much damage. I think that one has some potential. So Touch of Death, let's see what it looks like real quick. Come on, use the skill. So it looks like it's just some sort of poison AoE. So it strikes an enemy and it does some damage, implying 420% poison damage. And then when the infection expires or the host dies, a swarm hatches and seeks enemies, dealing some damage. You can have 3 swarms. Oh, does it like spin around? Do we get to see? Or is that little like... Oh, it looks like it kind of does a little spin around. Okay. So it heals us for 2% of our maximum life. Okay. And then Touch of Death is now a core skill that causes Vigor and has no cooldown. It swarms burst every second, applies some sort of poison damage. So it looks like they want you to also be able to build some dot damage. So this is the ultimates now. So we have the ultimate, we got Gorilla. So Gorilla's going to come down and just kind of ticks for some sort of damage. And then it also grants you Barrier. The Protector's strike deals 300% increased damage to non-elite and reduces the damage you take from elites. So maybe for some damage reduction. The Protector's area persists an additional 6 seconds, and while you're in the area, you're unstoppable. Any enemies or small missiles inside are slowed, so you can maybe prevent some one-shots. Then we have the Seer, so this is like the one that kind of charges up, and then it does damage, so it swoops down, and then it does 300% damage. And then you can knock down enemies, and then the second hit is a guaranteed crit. Okay, that's kind of cool. And then the Seeker constantly makes all nearby enemies vulnerable while active. Okay. Most of these just never really do damage. We'll have to wait and see if these are actually good for it. But next up we have the Hunter, which is the Jaguar, but Oh, okay, it actually registers properly. Because before, I was pretty sure that this registered as Eagle. Okay, cool. Anyways, maybe that was like a bug or something that I saw. Anyways, it does dealing 50% damage upon landing, and then slashes enemies for 200% total damage over 7 strikes. And then the Hunter overfills your ferocity by 4 stacks and causes you to do 100% increased damage to injured enemies. I never really like damage to injured. If it was healthy, I'd consider it, but Exalted, killing an enemy while the Hunter is present has a 15% chance to instantly reset its cooldown, causes your next skill within 8 seconds to repeat itself 7 additional times, up to 4 times. So yeah, I think it was this, where you would cast this, and you would have these things spiral and spin around you, and you cast it 7 times, and you just covered the screen. It was actually really cool. But next up we have the Devour. So this class actually has 4 ultimates. So you get a giant centipede that comes out, and it spits, probably doing some poison damage. So as it emerges, the Devourer launches 10 toxic globes that apply some poison damage. And then while the Devourer is active, if a non-boss enemy's remaining life becomes poisoned, they instantly die and unleash a pestilent swarm that deals 30% damage per hit to enemies it passes through. The fact that it doesn't work against non-bosses, I don't know why they have this like execute. If you've ever played Path of Exile, think of like the Culling Strike. I don't know why they don't let it work against bosses, because that's the only time that actually becomes useful. So I probably would skip out on running an ultimate, but as far as the other things go, I think we'd have to go in here to go over the skills. So obviously on the first one, we are running the this one over here, right? I wish we could make a tab on this one. You can't like make a tab of it, but basically we'd be running that, and then we skipped on this one. We ran what? Sore Ravager, Toxic Skin. So Sore, just for mobility, wherever that is. Sore, and then the Ravager, which gives us to attack twice. We have Armor Hide, and then was there another poison one that we were running? So I'm trying to show you guys what we're doing. Oh, it's Toxic Skin. Yeah, Toxic Skin. Toxic Skin, and that was pretty much it. Toxic Skin, and then I guess we have 1 free slot. If I had extra room, maybe 1 to Rushing Claw just for the extra mobility there, and that's pretty much what I would be looking at. So we can put like 1 point into this, since we get 4 charges. It'd be nice to maybe put some points in there, but let's check out the rest of the passives here. So you can make the skills count as anything, and I have to double check. Does this have to be a Gorilla skill? It's just any of the third attacks. Okay, so you can make it count as anything. Okay, so whenever you block, you gain Vigor. Not that we have anything to really expend on it. But what are the other ones? So Gorilla skill gives you increased maximum life. Gorilla skills deal increased damage to knock down enemies. Execute them if they're... Again, there's no point of having those things. Eagle skills deal increased damage for each 20% movement speed. Casting an Eagle skill grants you more movement speed. And then we have hitting enemies with a Jaguar increases the damage you take from you up to 10%. Jaguar skills deal 2% increased crit strike damage per stack of ferocity. And then Centipede skills deal... I'm going to check what this one is. Is this... okay, so it's considered Gorilla. Centipede skills deal 5% increased damage, double this versus healthy enemies. I think that one actually has a lot of potential. I'd probably invest all into that. Centipede skills deal 10% increased damage to crowd control. And gain increased crowd control duration. So yeah, I'd probably make the thing count as a Centipede skill, which we can do later. Actually, is there any more passives here? Because there's a lot to select. And we still need, obviously, select a key passive. So, casting an ultimate skill grants increased damage to elites. Double this bonus if you're only fighting 1. What is that, 15? So you get 30x damage for 9 seconds. I mean, if you could spam it. Is there any, like, they're all 45. Okay, this one has the shortest cooldown. But let's see what else we have. Your maximum vigor is increased by 10 while you have an ultimate skill equipped. Any enemies you kill while an ultimate skill is active grants supremacy each, increasing your damage. When ultimate skill ends, you gain 5 stacks of supremacy, but you get to lose 1 stack every second. Casting ultimate skill makes you unstoppable. Hitting enemies with ultimate heals you. Upon casting ultimate skill, last potency, focus, or defense skill becomes free to cast. And then, okay, that's it for the passive. So, like I said, this was probably the best one. And then, increased damage to vulnerable enemies. I mean, that seems pretty dang OP, 100%. But how it works is, after making an enemy vulnerable, your next direct damage dealt to them gets to heal for 2% of your max life, generates 5 Vigor, and removes the vulnerable effect. So I'm guessing it does all of that. So you get 100x damage, but you have to apply vulnerability again. So perhaps we run I don't know how a curse touch is going to work, because I don't know if it removes the curse from them. If it doesn't remove the curse and it just basically gives you it for free, it's just perma, then this is like without a doubt the best one. Now let's see, the base of a spirit cast grants, we get movement speed, damage reduction, attack speed, or we get some sort of life steal. And then swaps to the next bonus, increases all the damage by 30 for the next 5 seconds. So I guess that what they want you to do is kind of like go in and play hybrid. So you would get some sort of bonus, but then it swaps. This one could be used. Like I said, I mean, these both seem pretty good. And then every third consecutive cast with the same basic skill increases all skill ranks. That could be kind of nice. Every third consecutive cast of the same core or potency skill reduces all active cooldowns. So, I guess you could get +2 to all skills. It's really not that bad, but it's not going to scale as much as just like getting, like, you know, even getting 30% attack speed is actually quite nice. I think that would be very nice to actually have. But like, it swaps the new bonus. You can't like keep all of them up. I mean, if you could, this is like momentum with Rogue, you'd have a lot of good stats. And then your crit strikes cause enemies to burst for 100% of the total poison on them. I wonder if we could do some sort of poison / thorns. And I felt like the only like synergy was really that, like, oh, if they're poisoned, they just take more damage with thorns or whatever. It wasn't like, oh, you get, based on your thorns damage, you get poison damage. So I would say one of these, either one, it seems like it's pretty good. Again, I'll have to wait and see kind of how they make the thing work with, let's say, a cursed touch, or just apply as much vulnerability as possible, considering your attacks can swipe more times, right? But let's go also check out the rest of the like items for the character in terms of the build. Man, this video is getting long, I know. But I do know about this because I did see this before. So basically how it works, I think you get to select 2 of these, right? You can assign 2 spirits. So you can make anything convert to whatever. So Eagle's skill grants 2 storm feathers, and then when you evade, you use all of them and it does some sort of damage. And then all of them will have like the conversion to whatever skill type, which is really cool. It's kind of like Druid. And then every 4th time you deal direct damage to an enemy with a Jaguar skill, it unleashes additional slashes, dealing 100% of the damage of the 4 hits. So I guess that's like basically 25% more damage, right? You hit them 4 times, then it does the damage again. 100% of the damage of the 4 hits. I think that's, or is that like 400% damage, like in total? I'm not sure again how that's going to work. But casting Gorilla skill deals 100% thorns damage to the enemies you hit and grants you a barrier. Oh my gosh, yeah, dude. Rerun that and the other one. Wait, this is like actually crazy, because don't we already have that? Your third attack deals 100%. So now, okay, it's 100% Gorilla. What the heck? We can assign 2 animal spirits. So I don't know what happens if you make all the skills gorilla and then also all something else. Like, what does it select? The last one you select? But then, okay, so we can assign 2 animal spirits. So we get to select 2 out of the 4. But anyways, all skills are now gorilla. Hitting an enemy with a centipede skill reduces their damage by amount, and it slows them, and it can stack up to 8 times, and then all skills are centipede. And then they have a secondary bonus. So every 4 meters move, your critical strike chance increases by 4. Now, I'm not sure if this works with thorns, because thorns is not really supposed to be able to crit, but there are like things that like bypass that, like was it Sky Hunter? There was some rogue bow. I have a build on it. It's a Thorns rogue build. It actually got nerfed, sadly, but it was cool when it existed because you can one-shot most of the stuff in the game. Who knows if this will let you do it. Maximum ferocity is increased by 1 second ferocity whenever you kill an enemy or damage a boss. So this could actually be a pretty good stat. And then Gorilla, you get more resolve. When you have at least 5 second resolve, you are unstoppable. So hopefully we can just get perma unstoppable with this. Heal 1% for your maximum life for every nearby enemy you've poisoned. Okay, so what I would probably select, I'm assuming like ferocity gives you some sort of like passive. Either way, 100% Gorilla. I mean, this now means that you have 200% of your thorns on every single hit. That is absolutely wild in terms of like stats. So we would go Gorilla, and then the other one, I really don't feel like it matters that much. I really don't care too much about the other stat over there. And then as far as the uniques go, I'm just going to go over like the unique effect. This one, it's got thorns. Giant's Vigor, each time you deal thorns damage, gain Toxic Skin's passive effect. Okay, so we're definitely getting that. Maybe we can even have an extra skill slot for free. So we don't care about Soar. When moving, you gain dodge chance, or after standing still for 3 seconds, you become unstoppable. Okay, obviously we're going to be running that, it's called moving dodge. Okay, so let's go over this, over the boots over here, moving. Oh, can I go to the uniques? Oh, does it not? Oh, some of the, okay, Soar Evade, that's what we would want. So you throw in Soar Evade. Harmony is a helm. Your skills are additionally all of them. Based on your secondary Spirit Hall choice, each Spirit type skill on a skill increases the damage by 50. That could actually be pretty good, but I'm just going to think of like what I would run. And if I run that staff, I cannot run the Shard of Varathel, or that other thing that makes it so your, I think that's it. Where like your basic skills will then cost resource, right? And then we can run the Crown of Lucian. So maybe we could just run Harmony, because if it counts all of your skills as everything, I don't know how this then registers. Because if they count as everything, that should mean that you get everything. Assuming that that's how it works, I would go for this. It's like there's no reason why we wouldn't just play Harmony for our Helm slot over here. Oh, Harmony, and then we would run Razor Plate. So that'd be what we would want to run. And then for this, I'm not sure what we would run yet. We could maybe run... I was thinking like Fists of Fate are like pretty dang good as well. We'll run maybe something basic and then also just temper on more Thorns, since that's what we're kind of scaling anyways. But Crit Strikes restore. Again, I don't know if you're going to be able to crit with Thorns in this build. So your maximum Vigor is increased by 100%. Kills grant Vigor, killing a poison enemy grants a stack of Ferocity. I really wish I could see what like the full thing of Ferocity does. Now, as far as like the other passives go, I don't know what you can roll in like... Oh, I guess... Does it show what you can roll in like... the amulets for the like re-rolling things? Because that would actually kind of matter as well. Like Vigorous, like these are probably like a bunch of defensive ones. I'm not gonna look too much into this other than like double. Oh, let's see if they have it. Okay, that's the only thing on double. What about twice? Don't use the keyword twice. What is it? Let's see. Okay, Rake can extra hit. What else extra hits? Stinger, Ravager. Okay, so things that can like activate twice for, you know, tempers are pretty good. Now, do we have this one doubling Rock Splitter? Anything for Rock? Rock Splitter size. Okay. Rock Splitter resource generation. Block chance bonus. Okay, because this is what we want to use. We just want to go ahead and just increase our Thorns every third attack, which is every single time we get 200% of our Thorns damage. This is just crazy damage. I think that this is just going to be the thing to go for. I guess we can get the size. Is maybe not that bad. That's probably how it would temper on the item. Let's check out the rest of the aspects. Whenever enemy hits you, your dodge chance against the enemy increases. Successfully dodge resets the bonus. And then, actually, this is pretty dang good. I would probably run this. And we can maybe check out what other things have dodge. While active, counterattack reflects incoming Razor Rings back out again. And then we have a Resolve has a chance to not be lost when you're hit for each stack of Ferocity. We have a 25% chance to create a Mystic Circle for 10 seconds. Casting a Gorilla skill in Mystic Circles empowers them to periodically grant you Barrier for 25% of your maximum life, which increases your armor and maximum resistance while active. That could be pretty dang good. Casting a Gorilla skill in Mystic Circles, so we'd have to create the Mystic Circles. Then we would then get Barrier, and then it could give us, you know, this is a pretty good stat. To give you up to 15% max res, that's like really, really powerful. So we would throw that on in maybe the pants area over there. Very good stuff indeed. And then we get block. Losing a stack of Resolve has a chance to heal you. We have block reduction is increased by while you have a barrier. Okay, so your block reduction? I'm not sure what that exactly means. Like, you have reduced chance to block that gets increased? Okay. Casting a non-mobility skill grants Resolve. Okay. Rush Claw extends the duration of your Incarnate. Grant Resolve. Heal when you poison a healthy enemy. Gain 5% increased armor and Thorns per missing 1% maximum health. Okay, now we're like looking at something pretty interesting. Now, I don't know if you can, like, reduce your life with anything. There's, like, one skill that reduces your HP, but then it has to, like, it can't activate if you're at a certain threshold. I forgot what it's called, but there is an aspect that can do damage. What is it? I think it was for Sork, though. But, Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is something that like it does like X damage, but then it like takes your HP. It was in was it the Malignant Heart season? But yeah, I think there's an item like that. Anyways, payback now echoes forward. Each different basic skill you cast increases all of your damage. Okay, so we want combined strikes. It's each different. I guess this is just 25, unless we were to just cycle through all of them. That's maybe a skip. Maybe we can even throw in something like Pain Gorgers. Because we're going to be using basic attacks, but we can use maybe like Soar to use as mobility, maybe dash through to start activating these things, right? So I'm looking at kind of like making a charge, instead of like a charge barb, we're running a charge Spiritborn over here. Using a mobility skill or evade Spirit Feathers and Lungy, which deal damage. I don't know if this would count as, again, something that can proc Pain Gorgers. Most of the time you have to actually activate the skill. Centipede skills have a chance to spawn in a swarm which deals poison damage, and then Pestilent Swarms deal 100% of their base damage as poison. You could probably make a poison build with it. Dang, how many aspects are actually here? Is this video going to be like 5 hours long? Gosh, there's so many. Okay, but next up we have Stinger Spawns Pestilent Swarm at its location that deals some sort of amount of damage. We have up to 25% chance to create a Mystic Circle for 10 seconds. And then casting a Jaguar skill to Mystic Circle empowers them to keep your ferocity at maximum and increases your damage per stack. Wonder if you can, again, count all of your skills as everything. That'd be very, very good, because that's what one of the items does, right? It's called Harmony. Your skills are additionally everything. So, I mean, this just seems super OP. I can just run everything that has a... Like, if casting a Jaguar skill or a Gorilla skill, whatever... If each one of these registers as its own 25% chance, because it counts as everything, why wouldn't it? I would just assume this class is just going to be the most broken class in the game by like a long shot. And there's actually an interview with Rod Ferguson. I'm probably going to make a video dedicated towards this, but he was talking about like, yeah, the class is going to be OP, man. Like, and I already see it being really, really strong. You gain Resolve when you dodge an attack. Your potency skills consume Resolve to deal more damage. You have a 100% chance to gain Ferocity when you crowd control. Casting a focus skill, nearby Spirit Feathers, which deals some sort of damage, gain increased crit strike damage equal to your block chance. Blocking this doubles it for... This could be pretty good. Again, I don't know if Thorn's going to be critting, but when you cast a third attack of your basic skills, you have a chance to unleash a payback. Okay, which one was payback? Is that like a... Okay. So payback slashes enemies. Okay. So each time an enemy attacks, you damage... They take from payback increases, grants you vigor, and then payback is now a core skill. Becoming crowd control impaired while payback is on cooldown lets you go free and grants you unstoppable. I wonder if this can like actually proc with it, because if you have a chance to just become permanently unstoppable, that's maybe worth it. Gorilla skills deal some adds your armor to attacks. I mean, you get percent of your armor as like what, like base flat damage. I don't know. That could be kind of interesting, especially if you were to run something like Juggernaut and then also run like Disobedience. Like, how much more damage are we talking here? This could be pretty OP. I'm gonna go with Unyielding Hits. I'm gonna throw that in there in the build as well. Like, I will definitely try that thing out. So then we have Rake manifests a Jaguar. Which also casts Rake and a random enemy dealing 45% of damage. Well, if you can have Rake cast itself twice, right, and then you have this guaranteed at 45% like extra of the base damage, that's gonna be kind of cool. When you dodge or block, oh my gosh, 350% Thorns damage. That is crazy. Thorns has a 10% chance. Okay, this is its special ability that has a 10% chance to deal 150% chance whenever you block, which is going to be way more common to deal 350%. You just made this build like absolutely the best build. Like, especially since you get like a 40% on the passive, and then you get another 25. I don't remember what the exact thing was called, but you're literally looking at 65% dodge without even getting dodge. So I just see this build, and on top of that, the base of like the build is already dexterity based, so you just put that in and you're looking at like, I don't know, 80% dodge real easy without even trying. And then if you throw in the other aspects, I mean, you could probably get 90% chance to dodge. Again, I'm not sure how it's going to register because the new temper dodges are OP and they work really well. But the other ones that are like basically inverse multiplicative, they're basically terrible. This is back in like season like 0 and stuff. But now I think it could be pretty good. This is like super, super OP though, man. This is like best class in the game now, like just with that. When you cast an incarnate skill, you come enemies around become vulnerable. Okay, so kills extend the duration of your active touch death. Okay, that's not really useful for us because we're looking at the best build. Enemies you poison have reduced healing. Okay, and you gain only your eagle skills. Again, if you can convert everything to every skill, then that just means you have 25% increased crit chance. I'd run Reapers as like one of the, I mean, 25% increase is pretty insane. I would run that. Like that's an easy. Let's see. Ravager no longer has a duration and drains vigor every second. Oh, okay. Well, I would just run this. When you don't have enough vigor, it ends. Okay, so Starving Ravagers. I'm assuming... wait, this was... which one was... Ravager was like the double hits? Yeah. Oh, this is easy. Boom. We'll go for this because it generates resource. Now we have a reason for resource. Enemies who move while poisoned take additional thorns damage per set. Oh my gosh, Tormentors. Throw that... What's out of room? Alright, there we go. Oh my gosh, there's way too much thorns damage in this build. Your cooldowns are 40% faster while moving. That's pretty cool. Every third consecutive crushing hand smashes. Additional... Wait, whoa. What? Crushing hand is... Oh, that's Rock Splitter. Wait, 10 times is pretty crazy, though. But crushing hands is that the, like, this one? Okay. Dang. And the item just... Is it every basic skills? Okay. I was hoping, like, if that could work with that, I'd almost want to swap to that. I mean, 10 additional times... That's like 400% damage. That's pretty crazy already on a core skill. But, because I was going to say, okay, scrap this idea, let's go Crown Illusion, but, like, no, because it doesn't work with the basic skill. Or, it only works with the crushing, the hand, and it does deal a little bit less, but I don't know if, like, if there's a way to make this always use its third consecutive cast. I'm assuming not, though. Okay, so we have cooldown, then we have, Eagle skills have a chance to summon a Spirit Feather. If you collect them, you reduce cooldown, okay. Annihilation or Acceleration. Hitting a vulnerable enemy has a chance to reduce your evade cooldown. Okay, I don't really care about that. And once an enemy is slowed by 80%, they become feared. You deal more damage to feared. Dealing direct damage to an enemy progressively slows them. You gain block chance. Okay. Chance to create Mystic Circle using a Centipede skills. Okay, doesn't really care about that. It's like poison. Sword cast a Vortex that deals increased damage. Scourge continuously affects enemies. Every second while moving, you gain bonus movement speed. Oh, well, that's pretty cool. I like that. I would definitely run the aspect of haste if I wasn't running this because, what did this give us that we liked so much with it? I might have seen something before that I really liked, but I like that one too. I wouldn't mind running that. After you evade your next core skill, dashes towards your target. Okay. Razor Rings is incarnate skills, passive, you're unhindered. Wait, you just gain unhindered for the whole time? You gain increased movement speed for each active Razor Wing. Then Sky of Power, lucky hit chance to create a mystical circle while casting Eagle skills. Mystical Scroll empowers you to move with you and explode for some sort of damage when you evade. Okay, I'll skip it on that. But basically, we filled up everything. The only thing that I felt like was free maybe is we run some sort of like dodge. Anything that's going to give us dodge. Whenever we dodge. Okay, that one could be good. I was also thinking about Crowded Sage. I'd probably rather run Crowded Sage or Fortification. Or that looks like probably what I would be running in the build so far. And since you can't scale, like, you know... we do need a good source of vulnerability. That could just be on the Paragon board, though. That could be real easy, but I'd probably just put in, like, the standard stuff. Like, nothing too special here. Just whatever is going to give us extra resistances. Or, if we wanted to, we could just actually run all Skulls. Because there was that thing where we may be able to get a lot of damage based on our armor. And if we just ran everything that would give us bonus to armor, that could be a way to play it. But... there it is, guys. That's what I think is going to be one of the best builds with this so far. Because a lot of you guys have been like, what do I think is... the best build? Honestly, I mean, again, I know it's really earlier on, but people want to know, so I'll give you guys my thoughts. My thoughts are 100% like, go Thorns, man. Like, there's just so many numerical stats that easily just benefit that. As far as the tempering stuff, those are probably going to be changing, and I don't know what the percents are in terms of like the numbers, so that definitely does matter as well, but we'll have to wait and see. But that's probably what I would use to build it, and there's, I guess, the build guide for, in my personal opinion, the best Spiritborn build without even seeing endgame. because you guys asked for it, but I want to say, honestly, it's probably too early to decide because we don't have access to all of the uniques. There could be some glyphs that make some poison builds way better, but I think that you could probably build this in multiple different ways. Looking at poison, looking at the gorilla, every third one has a 10 times attack. Like, these are crazy amounts, not even just for like the damage of 10 times, but having 10 times of a skill that already has an overlap of a lucky hit chance of 31. You just run Andariel's and then you run Crushing Hand and you just have this like crazy explosion. Because you having it activate 10 times, and each one of those, if they can overlap, right, you're getting just crazy amounts of Andariels, and at this point, this just becomes like the god tier Andariel build, because there's just too many hits to activate. It's every third hit, but then you just run as much attack speed as possible. And this is a completely different build. You just run like, you know, accelerating and just get as much attack speed as possible, and then you run that, and yeah, you're gonna do some crazy poison damage, and then you just everything go into poison. But I really think that the Thorns build is looking pretty dang good. We could maybe swap up Pain Gorgers now that I'm thinking about it, because we may not be scaling all of our damage. We could probably remove this over here, but we'll run it for now and see what kind of happens with the build. But there's just a lot of multipliers here because there's another basic skills. But anyways, that's the Spiritborn, all of the like things that we know about it, and what I think is currently the best build. But let me know, guys, what you think of it. Do you guys have any other builds cooking up? What do you think is the best one? Now that I've kind of revealed mine, this is my first like time checking it out, as I had to read everything here. But sorry, it was a long video, but there's just so much to go over. Hope you guys enjoyed it, but we got to see this in action. So subscribe, turn on the bell, and we're gonna build this regardless of what happens when it comes out. I want to build this. Like, it looks really good. Easily one of the top tier builds so far, at least on paper. But who knows? There's gonna be maybe some double dipping and a crazy OP thing, and we'll have to wait and see. But so if you want to see it, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.